Tragic.
Things were going well. You were adjusting to this new life. But tragedy always comes to those with power. Those who break the mold. Echo, your eyes open to reveal the medical bay. You're not sure how long it's been since you passed out. Your memory is hazy for a moment before you remember why you're here. Lasher. Then, you look down. You see yourself strapped to the bed and hooked into all kinds of foreign medical equipment. Your body is pallid. Tubes are hooked into your arms, pumping IVs and transfusing blood into you. Your gauntlet is sitting on a table across the room. Suddenly, someone approaches your body. Catalyst walks over, removing hardened foam from your throat to reveal the wound. Holding sewing equipment, he goes to work on the wound. Suddenly, the heart monitor begins to flatline. Catalyst quickly moves to his equipment table. Shadows loom above you.
Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
You've never seen them, but you know what they are. They're here for you. They slowly approach your body, hands outstretched. You feel as though you're drifting upward, unable to swim toward yourself, like you're being pulled away. Then Catalyst approaches your body once again, holding a pad crackling with electricity. He sticks it to your chest, then flips a massive lever to send lightning coursing into you. Your body convulses in response. He does it again, and your body convulses again, before you hear the heart monitor start beeping. Catalyst cackles maniacally in success. Then he whips out a long syringe, holding it over you. He injects it into your neck, and your vision is filled with color as your body goes rigid. The shadows begin to drift away as you're rapidly pulled back toward your body. Catalyst walks over, and you hear his voice as you slowly come to. "It will be all right, son. We will take good care of you. Rest now." He slips a breathing mask over your face as he continues his work. Suddenly, across campus, Alex, you wake up in a cold sweat. You're in your dorm. You've just awoken from a very similar nightmare, remembering your own repressed experience from when you nearly died to the meteor. The shadows looming over you, coming to grab you and take you away, and visions of Catalyst's work on you. In the nightmare, you always feel like a zombie. Your whole body is still weak from the incident. How does Alex feel after her nightmare?
In one aspect, she's relieved to wake up and realize that it's not actually happening again, but at the same time, the nightmare kind of slams her back into the reality that, yes, this is a thing that happened. She doesn't know why it happened, and she doesn't know if it could ever happen again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so kind of a... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
A little bit of relief and a lot of trepidation.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. And yeah, as you sit up in your bed in the dead of night, thinking to yourself about these tragic events, you know, your mind might wander to your friend Echo, who is in his own time of need right now. But eventually, you must return to sleep. And as the night continues, we roll over into a new day, where Alex has something that she needs to do after recent events. It's the start of a new week, though you're excused from classes given your injuries. Since you can walk around a little bit, you've scheduled a counseling appointment and have just arrived for it.
Gonna go ahead and walk over to the desk.
Yeah, you walk over and she says, "Oh, hello, how can I help you?"
I have an appointment scheduled.
"Oh, of course. What's your name, dear?"
Alex Cruz.
Alex Cruz. "Oh, yes. Wait just a moment, and, Great Oak will be with you."
Thank you.
"No problem,
She
dear."
goes and quietly takes a seat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sit down, and it takes just a couple of minutes before she eventually calls over to you and lets you know that you're ready to head back, and that it will be down the hall to your right.
All right, thank you.
She nods once again. And eventually, as you head back here, you open the door and reveal the counseling office.
She takes one deep breath and steps inside.
And as you enter the counseling office, you find Great Oak sitting in the seat, and they smile to you warmly. "Hello, Miss Cruz. Please make yourself comfortable. If you need any assistance, please let me know."
Thank you.
They
She
nod as
takes
you
a seat.
go to sit. "So, Alex, how have you been feeling since the incident?"
Well, where do I even begin with that?
"Wherever it is most comfortable."
It's been rough. I mean, who of all people can say they've, just been minding their business one day and then had a meteor fall from the sky and climb into them? And like I've always struggled with my powers and the feeling like they're not fully in my control, and the worry of what a danger I could be to others. And I thought I was just finally starting to make progress in that and start to feel like I had some sense of control. But if I hadn't realized that something was about to happen, who knows what could have happened to everyone else in that dorm building. And I don't even know why. Just that it's because of me.
Great Oak is noting this down as you speak, and it seems like they're basically giving you the floor until you open a spot where either you don't feel like you have much else to say or you're looking for a response from them.
She takes a pause as she tries to continue to collect her thoughts. I mean, enough people have already been hurt because of me. How can I even try to call myself a hero if this is what happens by me just existing?
Great Oak offers a small sigh as they tap away and they set their tablet down. "Miss Cruz, it can be troubling enough to go through this period of your life, adolescence. It is a confusing time, and to have these powers and dangers stacked on top, I'm sure exponentially, it causes these issues to become more and more confusing. Your powers, naturally being as powerful as they are, will attract some kind of danger. It happens to the best in our business. It happened to your grandfather as well, as I'm sure you are painfully aware. But, despite all of this, it is in our best interest to take measures and continue forward. You did not will such danger onto those around you. However, we will do our best for the future. I have discussed with Mr. Thimble and other members of the staff to look into the school's defenses so that we may keep an eye on the atmosphere around our school, just in case another issue like this is to arise. I know that such will only alleviate a small part of the concern, but we will do our best in order to allow you as much freedom to live your teenage life as possible without the burden looming over you.
She kind of takes a deep sigh of relief and says, that does mean a lot to me. I really appreciate that. And, of course, I'll stay wary as well. I mean, I know what it feels like now when that's about to happen. Hopefully I don't have to feel that again.
And as you're talking with Great Oak, and they're going into like, hey, this is a big deal, and it's very normal to be concerned about this, but we want to do our best to help you live a normal life as a teenager, or at least to alleviate some of the burden. Great Oak is going to try to shift your labels.
Okay.
The lesson here being very closely tied to that, they are going to attempt to move your mundane up and your freak down. And if Alex is receptive, you can go ahead and shift your labels, and if not, you can attempt to reject their influence.
I'm gonna say that worked. I'm gonna accept that.
Alright. And yeah, mundane up one, freak down one. And yeah, Great Oak is just trying to put in the effort to soothe Alex from this recent situation as best they can. And Great Oak talks to you for a little while about the difficulties of, not living what is sort of seen to be a normal human life. They talk to you about the number of students they've met in the school, aliens from other planets, half-breeds of humans and aliens, people whose situations are just unreal. And, Alex might think to herself and remember Echo and Lily and Jay, and even Terry coming from a criminal background. But Great Oak ties it all back together by saying, and even myself, in my long, long life in this world so far, I am no human. I am an oddity to society. And yet, we must take what makes us different and use that to push forward and bring others together. It can be treacherous to those who look to us, see something different, and fear us, and your powers as well pose suitable concern. But over time, you will grow into them and blossom into a beautiful flower, I promise you. They look to you, clasping their hands together after finishing.
Oh, did it pick up when I said I'll try?
It did not, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you say that you'll try, and Great Oak nods and just says, "It will come in due time, dear. Just you wait."
Thank you. Really.
They nod with a warm smile. And yeah, as they talk to you over time, they give you time to air out any grievances, just give you the floor to talk about any concerns and attempt to soothe you. Is there anything else that Alex wants to talk about, or any questions that Alex might have?
Here's a question, I guess kind of out of character. Did the school or did Alex contact her mom to let her know what happened?
The school did.
Okay. And Alex is gonna talk about, she knows that the school reached out, but she hasn't felt ready to try to call and talk to her mom about everything that happened. Feeling like her mom has been through enough, and now this on top of it.
Yeah, Great Oak will follow up and say, "To my understanding, your mother has been through quite a lot with the loss of her father and husband. Is that correct?"
Yes.
"And that is not to speak lightly of what you have been through, sharing these losses with her."
Yeah, absolutely. It's been hard sometimes, and I don't want to add anything else to her plate. I know she has such high hopes and aspirations for me going to this school and becoming a hero like my grandfather, but I can't help but feel like I'm letting her down.
Great Oak raises a finger and very slowly tisks at you, and then gives you a warm, playful little smile and says, "Any mother worth her salt will be concerned for you regardless of the situation. It will be compounded by the past. However, I would suggest openness, transparency. It would do well to speak to your mother about such things. It will be a hard conversation. However, your losses that you have shared, it will do well to understand them and understand their relation to your current predicament. Keeping her at arm's length, out of discomfort, will only delay the inevitable."
Well, when you put it that way.
And Great Oak gives a small nod and just says, "Her concern for the past, her longing for loved ones, her loss, it does not undermine yours, nor does it undermine your current concerns. You must be there for each other, for that is, in large part, what you have, yes?"
Yes.
Great Oak offers a nod and just says, "Of course, in due time, when you feel comfortable, you must not rush anything, but It will do well when the time comes and you are prepared emotionally for such a conversation.
Yeah, it may not be quite yet, but I know I need to. She deserves to hear from me.
Great Oak nods once again. Well, if you would like to invite her to the counseling office, I would be more than happy to speak with the both of you. Or if you would like to keep the conversation private, that is fine as well. I do hope that you are able to come to an understanding together.
I hope so too. I'll think about it.
And Miss Cruz, I cannot speak on your mother's behalf, but I am sure she is very proud of you.
Thank you.
Great Oak nods. And yeah, you guys talk for a little while longer. And eventually, Alex, you leave the counselor's office and go back to recovery. Again, your body is still weakened from the experience and is healing every day, and you think that soon you'll be able to move around like normal again. Even just the other day when you were with the rest of your friends and you found Nelson and Wayne just after they had fought. You remember using your powers to hold Wayne down, and the strain on your muscles and on your bones, even just doing as simple as that. But pretty soon you feel confident that you'll be back up to 100%. But regardless, you leave, you go to rest, and about a day or so passes as we move much deeper into the school. We'll move here. Change our music up. As we move deeper into the school, we're going to find Echo. Echo, your eyelids slowly open, although heavy. Your eyes dart around the room instinctively. Your hands are icy cold, and your breaths are extremely shallow. You can't muster a deep breath on your own. You note that your gauntlet is still on a table across the room. Now you're only hooked up to one IV. When you feel your throat, it feels almost as good as new. It's been stitched up, but it seems almost all the way healed somehow. And nearby, close to a few of the screens, you see a few figures.
Uh-oh.
What is Echo thinking and feeling as he comes to?
First, I guess his first instinct would be he'd be scared at first. Instinctively, as you said, his eyes kind of dart around the room, but as he slowly kind of gets his bearings and is like, oh, I'm not actually actively dying.
Mm-hmm.
He relaxes, not as much as you would, but like, he's not like from 100 to 9. He's just like relaxes a little bit because he knows he's not in any immediate danger.
Mm-hmm.
Are they both looking at him?
No, it seems that they're over looking at a few screens nearby. Catalyst seems to be showing Chrysalis a few readings.
Are they speaking at all?
A little bit, kind of hushed.
Can Echo see the screens?
A little bit over their shoulders.
What's on the screens, Ethan?
You want to roll to assess the situation?
You goddamn right. I do. Does he have his goggles on?
No, your goggles have been taken off.
God damn it.
Yeah, your goggles and your gauntlet are over across the way.
He stole my powers, chat. He's nerfing me. Doesn't matter.
Full hit. Yep, you've got 2
Oh, yeah.
questions.
What's on the screens, Ethan?
As you kind of peer over their shoulders to look at the screens, it seems to be a lot of your vitals. It seems to be not really x-rays, but like, you know, they're basically looking over notes of the injury and all of that, and just how the procedure went. It kind of discusses a lot of what happened, which, you know, your memory is really hazy, and a lot of what it shows on the screen is like jargon that doesn't make a lot of sense, talking about voltage and all of that. You're not really sure what did or didn't happen, but you can tell that as they're kind of getting to the end of it, it seems that the report says that, hey, it seems like it was a success. Doesn't seem like there are any major issues or, you know, any infections or anything like that. And notably, it does bring up the heightened healing factor.
Do these two seem worried at all?
They do not seem worried. You know, Catalyst is just calmly... Well, Catalyst is very calmly explaining to Chrysalis, who seems generally calm but a little fidgety. And as you're looking around, Chrysalis will look over her shoulder at you just idly, and then notice you're awake with a bit of a double take and go, Oh, Echo! And she'll step over to you, and Catalyst will look over his shoulder as well and offer a little nod to himself before going to work, kind of sending some messages. And Chrysalis comes over and, you know, puts a hand on your hand and just says, "Oh, Echo, are you here? Can you hear me?"
Yeah.
Oh, good. We were very... You can go.
How long was I out?
You have been asleep for a couple of days. The surgery was quite sudden and you were in a bad state, but your body has been focused on resting, and I'm excited to see you awake, as I believe that means that your healing process is almost done. And of course you feel your throat again and can feel kind of where the stitching happened, and your throat feels a bit hoarse, but again, it could be much worse.
Yeah, you know, losing a lot of blood and, you know, having your throat slit does that to you, to a guy. Echo kind of just nods and falls back as he looks at the ceiling, his eyes kind of clouding over.
And from your gauntlet from across the room, a little blue light hops across a few tables and lands right near you on your collar. And Spark will move around your face as if checking if you're okay.
Echo kind of does smile at that gently as he goes to just poke Spark in the belly. I'm fine.
Spark does a little backflip and whizzes up into your earring. And Chrysalis, she'll kind of look over a tablet a little bit before closing it and just pulling over a stool and sitting next to you and just saying, "Well, how do you feel, Echo? Do you remember any of what happened? Why did you appear in such a state?"
Would Echo tell her? Echo kind of pauses as he kind of looks over at her, just kind of feeling his neck and looking at his hand, expecting to see blood. No blood. He lets out a small sigh. He remembers everything, right?
Yeah, your mind's a bit hazy just from the drugs that you've been on.
Fair enough.
But yeah, you remember what happened.
I remember being in the Sand Realm, and I got ambushed in my home. It's foggy, sorry.
It's okay. Just take your time. If you are able to remember anything, it would be good for us to have, both for the report and to make sure if there's anything else that needs to be done, but just glad that you're okay.
And he remembers Lasher as his arms or his hands rather, make a ball into fists, and he just kind of gets a little bit mad. A villain did this to me.
A villain? What villain? Do you know their name, what they looked like?
Lasher was her name.
She tilts her head a bit, and looks over at her tablet and kind of scrolls through. Lasher. The green Lasher with the suit and the bladed tail, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Catalyst looks over and just says, that is mighty peculiar. She has been off the grid for quite some time. Upwards of close to 4 months, was it? And Priscilla shrugs and just says, well, despite the specifics, it seems that she's back. Oh, Echo, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. And you said this happened in the Sand Realm?
Yes. In a fight, I sent her there. That's why she was gone.
They both look at you, and Catalyst starts tapping away at his tablet, and Chrysalis tilts her head and just says, "Wait, when did you run into the Lasher?"
In the city one time, it was a fight. I sent her there to protect people.
Oh, well, that is good. It is good that you were able to do that. Though it troubles me that you didn't tell us that this happened.
In the back of Echo's mind, he goes, "Oh shit, yeah, we never mentioned that."
This is quite troubling. And Catalyst pipes up and says, if this information were to leave this room... scratch that. If this information were to leave the Academy, you could be in a lot of legal trouble, Echo.
In what way?
Catalyst just looks over his shoulder and says simply to you, sending someone to another dimension against their will is quite the crime. However, we do understand the purpose of such. You are here to learn to be a hero, after all. Chrysalis just shakes her head and says, we're going to need to have a talk about that later, but let's push that aside for now. Again, we're just glad that you're okay. Is there anything else from the situation that happened? Are you feeling okay physically, emotionally? Do you want to talk about what happened?
No. I'm not. She can tell he's lying through his teeth. He's upset.
She just sighs and says, well, you can take your time. And I know that you are fresh to waking up. A few students have been by and have been asking about you. Would you be ready to see visitors? Or at least in the near future, given how you're feeling?
Echo goes to lean up. Can he lean up?
Yeah, you can sit up.
He kind of leans up and sits up as he kind of just rubs his face. I just need to think. Can I leave this room?
Not right now. We do need to check over a few more things, but very soon you will be able to. The drugs that Catalyst had you on to numb the pain of the surgery are still in your system a little bit. It may make it difficult to walk, so we do not want you to potentially injure yourself.
How long will that be?
It depends. If you would like to get up and try walking around, I can help you, and we can.
He goes to just stand up immediately when she says that. He just goes to stand up.
She jumps back a little bit, but immediately goes to take you by the arm and support you and help you stand up. And yeah, you're immediately hit by a sense of vertigo. But once you get stood up, as long as you have something to lean on, you're holding your IV stand next to you, Chrysalis is supporting you on the other side. It makes it a little more doable, but with your prosthetics, it is much more difficult to move around than it would normally be.
He kind of wobbles and just kind of lets out a bit of a grunt as he just kind of leans back on the examining. Is it a bed or a table? Regardless, the
yeah,
table or bed.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of lets out a bit of a sad sigh.
Chrysalis perks up just a little bit, as if to try to help you feel better, and just says, again, it may take just a little bit of time, but I can assure you within the next day or so, you will be up and moving around again in no time. The healing process is very quick thanks to Dr. Catalyst's procedure. And Catalyst kind of spins a little glass vial around between two fingers and looks over his shoulder at you and says, "Only the best for our students." And then
cold shiver runs down Echo's spine.
He goes back to work typing away on his computer.
Echo kind of just shrugs that off and just goes to sit back on the bed. I'd rather not see anyone right now, at least when I'm in this state. Maybe after I get up and moving, I'll go say hi to people, or just I need to think.
Okay, I don't want to rush you. I'll give you a little bit of time to think. Do you need any water? Maybe a snack? Are you feeling hungry?
Can I just get something light, like pudding or something?
She gives a little nod and just says, "I'll see what I can do for you, dear." And she'll go to move out of the medical bay. And Catalyst seems to be, working over in his station and leaving you to have some space.
Echo kind of rests his hands on his face as he's just taking deep breaths. He looks down at his hands. Not used to not having his gauntlet on.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of looks at his hand that wears the gauntlet. And just kind of flexes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Catalyst.
Yes, son.
How much trouble am I going to be in?
In what regard?
With Lasher. That whole thing.
Well, given the amount of time it's been, and the purpose with which it happened, it is a little difficult for me to say. It will also be out of either my or Miss Chrysalis's hands. I suppose it will be Nightwalker that will be speaking with you. He is quite the strict one.
Damn. Echo says. It's funny. Being a hero has all these rules, Where I'm from, I didn't have many but survive.
Catalyst offers a dry chuckle and just says, "Our worlds are very different and yet scarily similar at times."
Thank you for patching me up.
Of course, son. It is my job. I will not let any of our students... Kind of stops himself and just keeps typing away after a moment.
How long till I'm out of here?
It depends on how your body reacts to the medicine. It may take the rest of today, perhaps part of tomorrow. You do seem to be coming along quite quickly, though.
Well, the sooner I'm out of your hair, the sooner you can get back to other work.
I suppose that is true, but you are my top priority at the moment, rest assured.
Who came by, do you know?
Oh, there was this little girl, I believe she is from the other class in your grade. The one with the long scarf stopped by, and, Miss Cruz as well. I know you two spend a lot of time together.
Echo's gonna go and pull out his... Is his, like, student pad around anywhere?
Yeah, it is.
He goes to, like, take it out and, like, look and see if anyone's, like, texted him or messaged him or anything.
Catalyst will move the table with your stuff over to you, and yeah, you pull it up, and you see some messages from Kinsey, you see some messages from, Alex, and kind of like the Dey'ja Buster group chat where Terry told everybody what happened to you. You see Lily's message just, like, not paying attention, and it seems like she hasn't even read the chat. You see,
What a bitch!
You see a message from Nelson, just a few people checking in on you from the class. It seems like the only people that really know about the depth of the situation that happened to you are in this close circle of Terry and Alex. Everyone else from the class or other classes that message you just are like, "Hey, I heard you got hurt. What happened?" And, that's kind of it.
Echo only sends one message out. And it's to Alex. It just reads, "I'm okay." He sends that off, letting the rest... He's too tired to reply to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of closes his iPad or whatever, his student pad, and puts it to the side. Are his gauntlet and goggles on the desk?
No, they are being kept further away from you.
God damn it! Catalyst.
Yes, son.
Can I have those back, please? He points to his gear.
We will be keeping those away from you until you are fully healed.
Can I at least have my goggles, at the very least?
He looks over to you, and he sighs and says, "I will relent on the goggles." He moves over to the goggles and brings them over to you and hands them to you.
He kind of takes them and looks at them. Would there be blood on them? Morbid thing to ask.
That's a good question, actually. Let me think.
I don't know if he's in the realm of cleaning up stuff.
I think regardless of if there was blood on there is no blood on there now.
Interesting. Okay. He kind of just runs his thumb over the lens of the goggles as he just kind of puts them on his forehead, and kind of there's a little bit of assurance he'd rather have his gauntlet, but he just kind of leans back and rests and looks at the ceiling again, his eyes kind of glossing over as he feels his neck, raising his hand kind of up into the sky as he, like, sees the blood on it, figuratively, not like he's, like, remembering when he was bleeding out.
And
But he just kind of sits there.
Yeah, more time would pass as Echo is left with his thoughts here. Chrysalis eventually returns with, some very light foods, a little bit of water, maybe a bit of juice. She's going to be, tending to you, making sure you feel okay and comfortable. Whenever it seems like Echo might want some space, she gives it to you. If he seems like he has questions or anything he wants to talk about, she immediately comes over and, she's just trying to help Echo adjust and wake up and maybe feel at least a little bit better.
Bug mom. So funny little thing, Ethan. I was looking at Ethan, I was looking at Echo and who he's influenced by. He wouldn't have told the truth if it was anyone but Chrysalis, because she has influence over him, eh?
It's true.
So, that's why he told her. But he's mostly quiet throughout the rest of it, kind of eating and just kind of like glossing over, just kind of thinking about what had happened and all that. He's just kind of very quiet into himself.
All right. But yeah, a few visitors kind of try to come and go as time goes on, and Chrysalis will go to the door and just be like, hey, Echo's still healing, he's still trying to rest. And time's going to pass us by here. And eventually you let yourself fall back asleep. And over the course of the next day or so, as we approach the middle of the week, you're in here, laying on this bed, hooked up to the IV. Your hands are still so cold. They end up bringing in a TV for you so you can watch some TV, just eat what little bits you can. You're very hungry after you're woken up enough. But of course, you're keeping it soft for your throat. And, during this time, Echo will, as adventurous as he is, he keeps trying to get up, walk around the lab, walk around the nearby, kind of the rooms where people would be sitting and waiting. Chrysalis will help you walk around this whole time, just supporting you. And eventually Echo finds it a little more stable to be on his 2 feet, as it were. And eventually it gets pretty close to the middle of the week, and after school hours, after walking a lap around the place, Chrysalis and Catalyst talk to each other, and they give you the green light to at least leave the medical bay, though they're saying, hey, you do need to stay on campus because you're still healing. And they do tentatively give you back your gauntlet and say, hey, if we hear that you left campus, you're going to be in big trouble. You need to stay on campus so that you can heal.
Does he have to turn in every night in the med bay, or can he go to his room?
You do have to check in, but you are able to go back to your room to sleep. But you have to check in regularly since they know that you can leave campus whenever you want.
Damn it, they got me in chains even though I'm not. All right.
But yeah, you get the green light to leave the medical bay. And once you exit the doors of the medical bay, you start walking down the halls of the school, feeling more stable on your legs, and you make your way over to one area in particular first. We'll wait for Roll20 to catch up, because it's having a problem. There we go. So, before making your way... Oh, no, change back. Before making your way anywhere else, you make your way over to the engineering workshop. And of course, after changing into some fresh clothes and taking a quick shower, you get to work on drafting a special project. What is on Echo's mind, and what is he working on here?
Echo, when he's upset or just needs some time to think, he works on other things, just kind of as a way to, like, focus on something besides what's going on. So he's currently sketching out plans for a particular craft that lets him get from point A to point B very fast. and can be used in multiple areas. But he's currently sketching it out, looking it over, thinking of what ruins he needs to create in order to make this work, seeing what materials he has on hand, that kind of thing.
Makes sense. Yeah, you're kind of trying to jury-rig this together, and I mean, has Echo been drafting this for a little while? You know, what's kind of the process on this?
Having had a lot of time in the mid bay, he probably would have already done pre-drafting in his own time, kind of like, you know, when you got like a podcast on or whatever, he'd probably be like watching TV and working on that. Like it's homework or whatever homework if they gave him homework. I don't even know. Did they give him homework?
They probably just will. They let you know that somebody from your class was very excited to bring you your homework once you're better.
Oh no. No, it's probably Nelson. But no, Echo would just kind of he'd probably have the first drafts ready to go for this, and he'd probably start doing the pre-design, building the kind of like the start of it right now as he kind of is working through it, just kind of tinkering away, writing down the ruins he needs for a very particular feature of this craft. Is there anyone else in this room, or is it just him?
No, it's just you.
Oh, that's interesting, because usually... Okay.
Yeah, you've chosen one of the empty labs. It seems like there aren't a whole lot of people around today, but especially, you know, this lab right now, it gives you some space.
Okay. He'd kind of like be working on that and tinkering. How would it have everything he needs?
I mean, you've got a bunch of, you know, metals and materials here. Given what you're trying to build, it can be a little difficult with this scale of project, but they've got plenty of metal around here.
Cool. That's all he needs, baby. But no, he'd start getting to work, putting everything kind of down, starting to etch ruins in the metal as he's kind of just working around, looking at things, grabbing what he needs, kind of at a bit of a pace that's can only be described as fast and loose. He just needs something to work on to try to channel this sensation of fear and worry away right now.
Does he open any portals to his home to grab anything from his house in Dey'ja to work on this as well, or is he just using what's around him here?
Good question. He'd probably do it like for a second or two, but nothing longer than like 10 minutes just to grab a few tools and things. Trying to adhere best to the rules set out by the teachers, but he just needs a few things to get to work. But eventually he sits down and is like etching. He has goggles down as he's etching the ruins on the metal, gently looking it over, blowing it out, just working away.
Yeah. And as you're working, eventually the mechanical doors to the lab were open, and a few people walk inside. You see these two walk in as Kenzie is like trying to ignore Kathleen, and Kathleen is like zipping around her, just being like, "No, I'm really excited to see what you're working on. I told you it's not Echo." And Kenzie will, you know, start running over, and Kathleen looks over and gives a wave and just goes, "Oh, hi!" and immediately zips and teleports into the seat right next to you.
Do they spin on the chair from the momentum?
Well, it's a stool, so no, they just appear, and it's like it like rocks back as if it's about to fall over, but then, you know, rocks back forward again.
That's amazing. Echo kind of like gives a bit of a half-hearted wave and a weak smile as these two show up, kind of just not... He seems happy they're here, but kind of like stuck in his own world. That much they can tell by the amount of metal that is just absolutely just like put on this table with ruins on it.
Yeah, as Kenzie runs over to you, she kind of just looks at you for a second from behind her screen, looks at the table, and then she just looks back at you and says, "What are you working on?"
Echo kind of just slides to her the his notebook that has the sketches of what he's building. Just a project.
She looks it over and just goes, kind of slapdash, but it might work. Puts it back on the table.
He kind of gives her a flat look. It just needs to help me find somebody, and I might make it better in the future, but...
Well, if you need any help working on it, just let me know. And she then just unceremoniously turns around and goes over here to start pulling some stuff together, pulling out her own draft papers to begin working on something.
Who kind of looks at her back with a brow raised. Happy she hasn't changed much.
And Kathleen leans on you and just goes, "Oh my gosh, what happened to your neck?"
Echo kind of pauses and frowns as he looks over at Kenzie or Kathleen. Do you really want to know?
Yeah, it looks like it hurt. Did it hurt? It looks like it hurt a lot as she points at 4 different lacerations that have been sewed shut.
Yes, it really hurt, actually. I ran into a villain.
A villain? She puts her hands over her mouth. What happened? I want you to tell me everything.
In time, I'm just kind of going through it, if that's okay.
Oh, what is this that you're building? And she puts her head on the table and is looking at the paper really close. This looks cool. What is this?
So, it's kind of like a bike, but not quite. It hovers, actually, about a few feet off the ground. See here?
That's so cool.
Yeah, and these ruins, and he picks up the metal, shows it channels energy, so it can do that.
Wow. Can you do wheelies on it?
It floats.
She just looks at you blankly.
You need wheels to do wheelies.
Oh. Well, that's okay. I'm sure it's still really cool.
Does she seem disappointed?
She just goes back to smiling after that.
Oh my god. He kind of gives her a small smile, her enthusiasm infectious. But he kind of chuckles. Hey, can you do me a favor?
Yeah, sure, anything. What is it?
Over there, I had put some metal. Can you go grab that for me?
It's before you even finish talking. She's over there digging around in the drawers and throwing things onto the floor. As if she teleported halfway into the drawer already with her legs kicking out of it. And then she teleports back over and dumps a bunch of stuff on the table. Is any of this it?
Is any of it what he needs?
That's a good question. Is it?
Yeah, he probably. He kind of looks through it. Half of it probably is, half of it probably isn't. But he kind of said, when you organize Lego, he's kind of doing that. He goes, "Thank you, I appreciate it." He kind of said. You
look over, and as you start organizing things, she starts putting the pieces on top of each other as if building a little house, and then it falls over and she droops. He hands her. He slides her a little welding device. And he shows her how to use it, to press the button, and then you kind of weld it like that. He uses this to... Ooh, like this? And she points it at you and starts turning it.
And he ducks. No. You don't, he grabs it slowly, edges it away. You don't, point it at anybody.
Oh.
That's really hot. You use it to melt things together, so don't point that at people. Please.
Oh, okay. Sorry, got it. And she salutes you.
Good. And definitely, my neck is fine. You don't need to use that on my neck.
Did they use something like this on your neck?
I have no idea, but I hope not. Just use it on metal. See, and he picks up 2 little squares of metal that he previously cut, and he puts them together to make a bigger rectangle. As he takes her hands gently and puts it over if she's holding the welder, he puts it over and shows her how to weld it very slowly. She
starts spinning the welder in her hand like a fancy cowboy with a revolver.
No, you don't do that either.
Why not?
Hold it one way. Because treat it like a gun. You hold it one way and it stays that way, and you don't ever point it at people.
But people do this with guns.
I know they do. They really shouldn't.
You kind of help her point it at the pieces of metal and weld them together. She's like, ooh, and she just starts like going to work, grabbing a bunch of stuff really quickly and welding it together. And you look back over at your project, and a few seconds go by of you're like, okay, I got a second to figure this out. And a few flashes happen, and she taps you on the shoulder, and you look over, and she's built like a miniature castle.
Like, how detailed? Is it like exceptional, or is it like kind of half-dashed?
It's kind of shoddy, but you can tell what it's supposed to be.
He kind of pauses. He does like a double take. That's really good.
And Spark is gonna jump out of your earring and look around at everything, and she'll look over at Spark and just go, "Oh, hey, little guy, it's been a while." And she's just gonna start like, kind of with her finger like poking at him and giggling as Spark seems to now be keeping her distracted.
There's a lore unlock here. Echo kind of looks at her and Spark, kind of interested, because Spark's never interacted like this with anyone besides her. But he kind of tilts his head. Kathleen, question.
Yeah, I love questions.
Do you know why Spark is so interested in you at all?
She tilts her head. I don't know. I'm glowing, I guess. She's like, gives off light as she teleports away and like completely disappears and then teleports back.
Is your powers teleportation, or how does it work?
I don't know.
You don't know.
She shakes her head. And her bells jingle when she does.
Spark, what is she doing exactly? He asks, looking at Spark. Trying to get Spark to figure it out.
Spark kind of like bounces off of Kathleen's finger a little bit, giving off a little spark of his own, and then he'll fly into your goggles, and you can roll to assess the situation.
Outstanding.
All right. You've got one regular question, and then you have sharpened eyes as well, so you still have 2 questions.
I guess we're just like, what can Spark figure? Like, why is Spark interested in Kathleen?
Spark is interested in Kathleen. As you like look through your goggles, you can tell that she ambiently gives off a lot of energy for some reason.
Oh. How can Echo tell how much?
You do have. I'll connect this to your first question and just say that you get readings, and I mean the readings are very scientific and very technical. So they're on screen and the viewers get to see them, but the viewers don't know what they mean. It's definitely like unnatural levels of energy for like a human to give off, which obviously Kathleen doesn't seem very human necessarily.
On a scale of like a AA battery to a nuclear bomb, how much energy?
That's a good question. I'd probably say like somewhere in the middle, maybe skewed a bit lower. But you notice that you're kind of just like watching her, and now her attention is just completely gone off because that's what she's like, and she'll zip around and teleport around the room. And you notice that whenever she teleports, it seems like the moment of her disappearing and reappearing in another location, the readings go up and then they go back down to being like more ambient.
Interesting. Okay.
And you have one other question.
Does her, when she teleports around, is there anything specific that happens?
Yes.
Because like her teleporting is very different than like say Danny, who kind of pseudo teleports.
Yeah,
does something. Is there an in between of states?
So you know from having watched the midterms and Danny and Maya versus Terry and Alex, you were able to tell, as were a few other students, that over a long period of time of the last semester, that Danny's power is to transform into a lightning bolt, and so there is an in-between state where she goes from point A to point B. With Kathleen, the first thing you notice is that very clearly she is instantaneously going from one location to another. She does just teleport. But additionally, what the readings pick up is that it seems like when she teleports, she transforms into pure energy before reappearing on the other side.
Interesting. And is that energy visible or is it invisible?
It seems to be that, whenever you see the flashes and sparkles that happen whenever she teleports and zips around, it seems like that's how the energy manifests.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. See, there's a lore unlock. Echo kind of nods, kind of storing that away. Hey, Kathleen, can I ask a favor?
Yeah, anything. She goes over and, leans on the table.
I need you to do something for me. Is that okay?
She shakes her head up and down.
In the other lab, 2 doors down, there is a very particular screwdriver I need you to get. It has
Okay,
a
and she teleports away.
I didn't specify. Oh dear. He kind of rubs his eyes.
Kenzie just sighs and looks over and just says, I wouldn't worry too much about her. She doesn't tend to listen very well.
She's probably not coming back, is she?
She might come back. I guess it depends on how quickly she finds the screwdriver. Or screwdrivers.
No. Echo kind of sighs and stands up as he picks up his sketchbook and kind of walks over and sits beside her as he sighs. How are you?
I mean, all things considered, I wasn't grievously injured, so I'm fine.
Yeah, he says, kind of feeling his neck. What are you working on?
Same thing I've been working on. I guess it's like my thesis project, but for this year. I'm gonna have another big project next year, probably another one after that, still kind of working out the kinks on the mech.
Can I see it?
Oh yeah, here. She rolls the paper over towards you, and yeah, you see this is like a Mark II of her scorpion mech that she's been working on.
Is there any design flaws in it that Echo can spot?
Roll to assess the situation.
I can hear your smile. That shit's flawless.
That's a miss, but you have sharpened eyes, so...
Are there any glaring design flaws that she might have missed?
It's, at first, it seems like the field of view would probably be pretty narrow, but when you hone in and look at the design, it seems that it's being built similarly to, I'll say her getup, her hero costume that she generally has on, which gives her 360-degree vision. It's those same nodes and sensors.
So, how many cameras are you gonna have on this thing?
That is a really good question. I guess it depends on how big it's gonna be. I need to figure out.
How big do you want it?
Well, I mean, as big as I can get it, but I need to find a sweet spot that's actually doable. They're not gonna let me use endless resources here, though I petitioned for it. I wanted to make it as big as the school, but they didn't let me do that, and so I've had to keep making it smaller.
So about the size of a car, or what are you thinking?
Well, that's what I'm aiming for right now. Yeah.
And he kind of looks it over as he slides it back. Can I ask you a weird question?
Sure. All your questions are weird.
Thanks. If someone were to try to kill you, how would you feel?
How would I feel? I mean, I'd be pissed.
What would you do?
She sits back, and it seems like usually she's very buried in her work, regardless of how much you guys are talking or in conversation, but she actually fully leans back and thinks about this. I don't really know. I think I'd probably... Yeah, she nods. I'd probably build something to, I don't know, in response. Like, I don't know. I guess it depends. I definitely would build something, though. I guess it depends on, like, what the situation was.
Echo looks down at his book that is open to the page of the bike. I'm burying my head in my work to build something.
Oh, I know.
To track the person down that did this to me.
I kind of figured.
Should I do that? He says, kind of looking at her sideways. Through the corner of his eye.
She thinks for a second. She'll pull down her screen and pull down her hood. Just kind of shake her hair out and lean on the table on her elbow and look at you. And she says, Echo, I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do. I think that you should do whatever you feel like you need to do. Otherwise, you're not going to be satisfied, right?
Correct.
That's what I would do. She shrugs.
Kind of looks down at the design and nods. And there's a little bit of a fury behind his eyes as he slides the sketchbook over to her. Not in an angry way, just like, hey, look at this. Do you see anything wrong with this? Any designs? Anything you'd think would be good to improve on?
She looks at you and looks at this and just says, do you want me to be honest?
Please.
Well, there's a lot wrong with this. I mean, it looks like you're just slapping junk together. It looks like you're not even thinking about it.
How would you improve it then?
Well, she takes your, pencil from you and starts making markings down and, just talking about it with you and kind of figuring out the design. And basically, she almost completely starts from scratch for a Mark II. Because she's just like, yeah. She's just like, listen, this isn't going to work. This thing, I mean, this is just going to blow up as soon as you try to start it up. And yeah, she goes into how to put it together with you. But you know that what she is proposing is a very planned out design, very deliberate. She is taking the time to perfect the design, which doesn't really take her a whole lot of time to do as she's talking to you about it.
Still helpful. He kind of nods as she's kind of working this out, and then he explains the whole aspect of linking it to his goggles to kind of control it. And he asks her what she thinks of that.
That sounds amazing. If I was able to control all of my tech strictly from my brain, she puts her fingers on her temples, I mean, that would be probably the end goal. So
it's more so the electricity that our brainwaves send, right? Kind of the same thing as that. That way Spark can also help control it as well if I need him to.
Oh yeah, but I mean, magic makes that kind of connection a lot easier. If you were to do that with pure tech, you'd need something hooked into your nervous system.
Do yours too, how do you do yours? Control your stuff?
Well, I mean, if I were to show you, it'd be kind of embarrassing. I mean, what if Kathleen comes back and sees us?
His face goes red. Okay, let's, I'll leave that up to guess and chance and just...
Are you sure you don't want to know? Because I'll show you if you want to see it.
Positive. The designs of the bike. What else should I add besides that?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you want to use it for, because if you just want it to move around, I mean, that's simple enough, but, I mean, it could do a lot more than it's currently doing. Right now, it's kind of basic, you know?
I'm not giving it a tail.
That would be so cool.
I'm not giving it a tail. It wouldn't support the weight. I can only have...
It's hovering! What do you mean it wouldn't support the weight?
It would fall. It can only be so heavy.
You can just make the thrusters more powerful.
It doesn't... I don't have the energy sources. I need to be conservative with that.
Ah, psh. waves her hand at you. That's the talk of a coward, Echo.
In the back of Echo's mind, he's happy to have a little bit of normalcy after everything. Like, this is kind of back into his old sort of lifestyle. And she can see it in his eyes. He's just happy to be back in his old way of life. But there is something going on else behind his eyes. This whole idea of possible revenge. But after a while, he kind of sighs and looks at this sketch. What color should it be?
Well, you know what color I would suggest, but I mean, I guess again, it depends on what you're using it for.
Moving around from point A to point B, fast as I can.
I mean, do you want to stand out? Do you want to blend in?
Just be kind of my brand, I guess.
Your brand? So what, beige?
No, he kind of like huffs,
She giggles
and
at
kind
you.
of rubs his eyes. No, like, you know how like Priscilla has like the whole, oh, I'm so fancy, that kind of thing. Like,
Who?
Priscilla, she's in my class.
She just shrugs.
You don't know her?
What does she look like?
Tall, long hair, glasses, designer clothes.
Oh, her! Yeah, she's a piece of work.
Yeah, but she has the whole brand thing going on.
Yeah,
Is that the
yeah.
word? I'm using that word right?
I guess so, yeah.
What would mine be? Like, what would really speak to
Something that
me?
fits, like, your image. I mean...
Yeah. Aesthetic.
What does your hero costume look like again? It has, like, a lot of white in it, doesn't it?
Ruins, purple, glowing runes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe you just make it fit that, if you think you're gonna keep wearing that costume.
Yeah, I think I will, actually. And he kind of looks at it and starts thinking of ways to kind of add a little bit of his flair to it.
But be careful, because if you do make it white, I mean, those marks, if it gets marked or dinged up, that will be visible, and it will be unsightly.
Sorry, it's just very funny to me. You got a nod, not having thought of that. Now, going through the idea of owning a car and scratching the paint. He kind of looks at her and just kind of gives her a little nudge. Thank you for this.
She nudges you back a little harder. And she just goes,
Ow.
yeah, anytime. It's fun to be able to work on stuff together. Help get your mind off things.
I needed this, so thank you.
She gives you a little smile. And it's really fun for us to be able to make something privately together.
Echo kind of like just looks at her, that going over his head.
I mean, this could have been yours, but now it's ours.
Yeah, we worked on it together. Right.
And she just gives a little smile at you and just says, so every time you're writing it, I just want you to think of me.
That gets a bit of a blush in his cheeks as he just kind of coughs. Yeah. And he kind of like looks at it and gently closes the book. I'm gonna go just get the ruins ready for when Kathleen gets back, who I really hope
She
is not.
teleports into the room and like dumps a bunch of screwdrivers on the table, and she says, sorry, I almost forgot. Here are your screwdrivers, bye! And then she just like zips and teleports out of the room.
How many did she bring?
She brought like 30.
He kind of walks over and he picks them up and kind of looks at them. She got like 7 Robinson. This is a flathead.
Kathleen looks over your shoulder. Ooh, I need that one. She takes it.
Hey, I needed that one.
Well, it's mine now.
And he kind of looks at me, kind of like he's like organizing them, and he kind of like She got 16 flathead screwdrivers.
You're gonna have to return those, you know.
Oh. Gotta just size. Alright, time to get to work. If you need me, I'll be over there.
All right,
Kinda-
good luck. She wiggles her fingers at you.
He kind of gives her a shove as he walks over and sits down. He pulls out he doesn't pull it out. He has the journal in his hand. He kind of puts it down with the screwdrivers he needs, and he looks at it and just kind of opens it to the pages. He kind of like... There's a brief moment of that, like, the joy that was there, and it kind of just fizzles away as he starts building this thing and gets focused. That sort of fury dancing behind his eyes again.
Mm-hmm.
As he thinks of Lasher and having a possible talk with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lasher dances through your mind. You remember the image of her standing on the rooftop over you, bleeding in the alleyway, the moonlight behind her. And her message to you that if she ever saw you again, if she ever learned that you didn't die there, she promised to kill you next time. And as that echoes in your mind, and you get to work on this special project, you know, you're working on one side of the lab, Kinsey on the other, just at ease, working on your own projects in the very least. You know, eventually time passes, you spend a good couple of hours working on that, and later that evening, you know, Alex shoots you another message. You two have been messaging back and forth since you got out of the lab, and you guys decide to meet up and take a quick stroll around the academy just to talk and be able to see each other again. And you know, it's pretty late in the evening now, as we cut to the middle of campus. The sun's starting to go down, and Alex, at this point, you're starting to feel more normal, physically. And Echo, you know you have maybe a day or two more before your throat should be basically back up to normal. And yeah, you guys are just strolling around, and some of the lights, you know, and the light posts are about to start coming on as it gets dark around campus.
Echo's kind of walking. He's relatively quiet, not really sure what to say at first, but as they're kind of walking for a little bit while longer, he kind of looks at Alex and goes, "So, how you doing?"
I was just about to ask you that.
You first.
I mean, it's been rough, but I'm doing okay. I'm almost healed, and I got set up with some counseling sessions. So I'm on my way up, or at least I hope I am.
Yeah, me too. And he kind of rubs his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a weird question?
Sure.
Just hypothetical, of course. But let's say someone evil tried to kill you, and you almost died, and you were scared and felt kind of hopeless coming from a world where survival is everything you know, and death is an almost near constant. Would you want to let it go, leave them alone, or would you want to try to kill them back?
That's a big question. I figure this is about what happened with you.
Hypothetically, of course. He says, giving a weak smile.
Yeah, and at this point, as a reminder, of course, Echo has only told Chrysalis and Catalyst about the specifics of what happened.
Okay, so she knows that, like, he was injured with his throat, but she doesn't know the circumstances exactly of who did it or what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it were me, I don't know. There's definitely a big part of me that would want to hurt them back the way they hurt me, but I can tell you from my family's experience, coming from a family of superheroes, that obsessing about revenge does not lead to a healthy place. And coming from the type of life that you've had, like you said, where you've been lucky just to survive this far, and you've survived again, and you will continue to survive, and whatever happened, whoever did this, I don't think that trying to hurt them will do anything good for you mentally or in any other way.
He kind of lets out a sigh. It was Lasher who tried to kill me.
Sand Dimension Lady?
Yeah. She came back. She wanted back. I let her back. She slit my throat.
Well, I guess she was gonna come back at some point. But...
Yeah, in hindsight, I really should have sent her to the Ice Realm, but...
Thunder crackles in the sky in the distance.
But...
Well... Hindsight's 20/20.
I'm building something to help me track her down. I just want closure of some sort.
Well, I can speak my piece and say what I feel, but when it comes down to it, you're the one who went through this. You're the one that she did this to, and if that's what you feel like is going to help you move on, then I'm here for you every step of the way. And can I roll to comfort or support?
Yes, you can.
Oh.
My first attempt at this, I think. Let's see. Oh.
Oof.
Oof. Can I give her a team point?
You guys do have a team point if you want to spend it.
Yeah, this is thematically relevant. Use it.
Yeah, because you're the way that you're helping is that you're wanting her advice. You spend your one team point to make that a 7. So excuse me. Echo, you can mark potential, you can clear a condition, or you can shift your labels.
I am going to clear afraid because Echo isn't afraid. He's got Alex now.
Okay.
Aww.
That actually, like, when those words leave Alex's mouth, he just immediately goes and hugs you tight.
She hugs him back.
Thank you, Alex.
Of course. I trust you and do the same for me.
And he just seems happy as he kind of like rests his chin on her shoulder. She'd feel like subtle drops of what she can only probably assume to be tears on the back of her coat for a moment before Echo kind of pulls back, his eyes a little misty, before just coughing.
And as you pull back, actually, You kind of step back from Alex, and you bump into someone.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. Who is it? Oops.
You pull back from Echo, or you pull back from Alex, and you bump into this huge guy who's walking by, with, a suit made of sand, and he kind of like shoulder checks you as you step back from Alex, and as these two are walking by and you're kind of like get pushed back a bit, you turn to look up at him, and this is who you see. And next to him, you see this guy floating along.
Oh, they're second years.
They're big boys.
But yeah. After bumping into him, the big guy twists around to look at you with a sneer. Hey, watch it, runt.
You watch it.
He
And
looks...
she steps in front of Echo and just glares at the guy.
Echo,
hey. Echo gotta raise both of his hands. It's all good. I just, it's just an accident.
He'll step over to you, Alex, and he towers over you because this is a big guy, and he leans down and squints at you through his goggles and just says, "Hey, I'm sorry. You want to be buried alive until you apologize?"
I could say the same to you.
He grits his teeth at you before this other guy floats over and puts his hands up, and you find yourself and this big guy being moved back a little bit, not forcefully, but slowly, as he floats over and lands in between you guys. And he just says, "Hey, Levi, come on, man, be nice." Whatever. He'll step over to the side, and as he glares at you, kind of as a passing glance at you, Echo, before narrowing his eyes at you, Alex, he backs off, and the other guy steps over and speaks to you both lowly. "Hey, I'm sorry about him. He can be a bit much. He's not a bad guy. He just has some temper issues."
Yeah, I can tell.
Just tell him to have some respect for my friend, or he's gonna have some regrets.
Right. By the way, he extends a hand to you, Alex. "I'm Isaiah. Hero name is Northwind."
Alex.
He gives you a respectful handshake.
She gives him a solid, firm handshake.
And he'll also look over to you. "Oh, and your name?"
Sorry, Echo. He says, kind of clearing his eyes a little bit, trying to look a little bit more macho. Just not trying to show he was crying, not even 10 seconds ago.
He gives you a warm little smile and kind of a little pat on the shoulder. And he says, "Like I said before, my buddy here is Levi. Say hi, Levi." And Levi scoffs and just says, "Come find me when you're done playing with the squirts, alright?" "Hey, I'm coming. Again, real sorry, guys. See you around, alright?" And they walk off as Isaiah starts to lecture Levi as they disappear in the distance.
I think him and Gabriel would get along really well.
I think you might be right.
You alright?
Yeah.
Sorry I got so caught up in everything going on with myself. I didn't ask how you were. Well, you were gonna say something before I dropped my hypothetical. He kind of air quotes that.
I think I said everything I needed to say. I want you to know I'm here for you.
Thanks. That means a lot, honestly. How much homework did I miss, by the way, while I've been out?
You probably don't want to know the answer to that question.
Which class was the worst?
Ooh, probably math.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure Nelson will be happy to help you out, though.
Notably,
Yeah.
Alex, you know that you swung by the medical bay to try to check on Echo a few times, and Evan and Nelson always tried to tag along with you in order to see Echo.
There was one other little development I think I should bring up.
Okay.
I know what the Dey'ja look like now.
Her jaw, like, drops and she's like, did I hear you right? What do you mean?
Before, when I was in... It's a bit of a blur, but when I was in the medical bay, I had a dream of, like, floating above my body, and there were these hooded figures which match what I've been told about them trying to take me.
Alex, when Echo brings this up, it kind of dredges up those memories of your nightmares from when you were in the medical bay as well, after being hit by the meteor.
Yeah, I can't say I've had that, but I've definitely had some nightmares after everything. It's been a rough few days for both of us, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of gives a soft chuckle.
But I'm glad you're here. And she goes and gives him another hug.
Can we do something fun?
Yeah, we can do something fun. Do you have anything in mind?
Sorry, I'm still, foggy-headed from all of the stuff they put into me. Do you have any ideas?
As you guys are walking, down the path, thinking about this, both of you, I want you both to roll superior.
It's a perception check.
Echo, as you're asking Alex about something fun that you guys can do, you kind of look over a bit in the distance, and your eyes notice something. You notice black question marks painted.
He's back.
You notice black question marks painted on a nearby wall behind some bushes and trees.
Echo lets out a long sigh.
Alex looks at him confused because she isn't seeing this.
He points to the question marks.
Oh god. Not again.
Not again. I thought they kicked this guy out.
Guess not.
Echo kind of sighs. We should probably check that out.
Yeah, if you're feeling up to it.
Yeah, I'm good enough, he says, giving her a small smile as he kind of walks over.
And you guys walk over and kind of crouch behind some of the brush. And beneath the question marks, you find something. Also written on the wall in black paint.
A question mark.
Yep, a question mark.
And you stare it down, and that comes to your mind.
He looks
Is
up at
there-
the question marks on the.
What were you gonna say, Alex?
Is there anything we can do to like draw a question mark on that, like if, in case that makes something happen?
Both of you roll superior for me.
Ooh, that's actually a good idea. I didn't think of that.
Big brain thoughts over here.
Yeah, Alex, you vocalize this and start looking around. An echo nearby. You see a rock that doesn't look quite right, and you pick it up, and underneath the rock is like a piece of black chalk.
Cards, this guy has that. He picks it up and he goes and he kind of puts the paper on the wall and he puts a little question mark.
Oh no, the message you saw was painted on the wall as well.
Oh, I see. My bad. He puts he squints and then kneels down as he goes to put the question mark at the end of the question.
Yeah, and upon solving the brain teaser, you both notice a thin crack between the bricks. And all at once, you're both sucked into the wall.
Da 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 da.
Oh boy.
I was joking.
You tumble as if falling out of bounds. When you open your eyes, you see this bizarre space unfolding around you. Colors and puzzle pieces into infinity, like a kaleidoscope.
Are they falling?
It feels sort of like you're falling, but also almost like you're flying.
Echo's like, whoa!
Alex grabs his hand to make sure that they stay together in this endless void of puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm. And out of nowhere, a massive white hand appears in the void, and it gestures to you both with a flourish before revealing words floating in the air.
I'm invisible until revealed. When I am shared, you always lose something. I will hurt you. What am I? Oh, great. I don't think either of us are in the headspace to be solving riddles right now.
I'm Echo thinks. Invisible until revealed. When I am shared, you always lose something. I will hurt you. Echo looks to Alex. Any idea?
Love?
You say that, and moments pass and nothing happens.
Well, that's not it.
Oh, I was sorry, Alex. I was asking you. Do you have any idea?
Oh, did you hear? I guess it didn't pick up. I guess.
No, I heard you.
Love.
I heard you.
Okay. Well, if that's not it.
Echo's gonna pull down his goggles and see if Spark might know.
Okay.
Yes.
Roll superior, and you can use Spark like the little supercomputer he is.
He's my boy. Oh, he's my boy.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Spark starts processing through, a bunch of potential answers, kind of narrows it down to, okay, it must be one word. It seems that it is something with negative connotations. It seems like it is a feeling or an act of some kind. And I'll give you those hints as he is processing, and if you take a little too long, then Spark can find the answer, but I want to see if you guys can figure it out.
A feeling.
A feeling or an act with negative connotations.
Echo kind of looks down at Alex's hand that's holding his. Oh no, a hand wouldn't be the answer either, because you lose it and it can hurt you, but it's not invisible. Until revealed.
What about betrayal?
You say the word betrayal, and when you utter the correct answer, the brain space around you begins to zoom by. You feel as though you're flying at light speed until you crash. Zoom in a bit.
My god, big brain, well done.
You both land outside of the dorms in a cramped space between a few of the buildings. You don't think you've ever seen this side of the dorms before. When you look up, moonlight cascades over one of the walls ahead of you. Scrawled in black paint, you see this message.
Well, that's ominous.
Oh.
Can I look around to see if there's any other clues left with this message?
Yeah, roll to assess the situation for me. Now, you look around, and you're just between a few of the dorm buildings in an area that's not usually where, you know, people are supposed to go with the design of how the buildings are set up. And there doesn't seem to be any other messages, it doesn't seem to be a question or a riddle, it's just a message, a giant message scrawled along the wall in front of you.
Echo kind of looks it over. Was it painted semi-recently?
Roll to assess the situation. Alright, you've got 3 questions.
Okay, first question. Was it painted semi-recently?
It does seem like it was painted semi-recently.
How, like, I guess this is kind of attached to that question. How recently?
Yeah, this will be attached to that question. It seems like it can't have been too long ago, but given the MO of who you're pretty sure is doing this, it seems to fit in with how he does things. Because obviously, if you leave something long enough and somebody finds it, the game's not very fun.
Is there any indication of him still being here?
No, you look around, you look through your goggles, but like always, there is no trace of the brain teaser. He never leaves a trace.
Ethan's favorite villain. And I guess the last question is there any, like, because I know he likes doing sets of things, is this very clearly the end of the set, or is there another question or anything around?
No, this reads to you like a reward.
So we guessed the riddle correctly, and in exchange for guessing betrayal, they're trying to tell us someone isn't who they say they are.
That could be very vague. Is it in our class? Is it in a different class?
It could be a teacher, it could be anyone.
You're who you say you are, right? Equus is kind of giving a small smile to Alex.
Well, of course. And you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He kind of pats himself down.
And Alex is going to take out her little student tablet and take a picture of this and send it to the Dey'ja Busters group chat saying the brain teaser is back. Anyone know what this means?
Oh, hey, Alex, take a photo of me and I'll just say I'm alive. And he kind of takes a pose of like flashing a peace sign.
Oh yeah, that too.
Okay. Yeah, you send some messages into the chat. We'll see the effects of that later.
I like to think Echo's just like standing there awkwardly, holding a peace sign up, like I'm alive, I survived, bitches. He's watching us probably still here, so thanks, I guess. Echo says, looking around.
Should we tell anyone else about this? Should we tell Headmistress Foresight?
What if she's the person?
I don't even want to think about that.
See, this is an interesting thing, because now the more people we tell, the more it could blow up in our face. What if it's what if it's not like someone impersonating someone? What if it's like symbolic?
In what way?
Like someone isn't feeling like themselves. I don't know, I'm just guessing. I'm still lightheaded.
It feels like it must be something important to go through all this effort, but at the same time, it is the brain teaser, so who knows if he's just trying to tease our brains.
I hate that even when it's a reward, it still hurts my head. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. And she kind of just yells out into the general vicinity.
You know, when I said I wanted to do something fun, this wasn't quite what I envisioned, but it'll do. He says, giving a small chuckle. Well, we'll just have to keep an eye out and try to keep it to our group if we can.
Yeah, I think you're
if
right.
If we tell the wrong person, that could be bad.
Yeah, probably the fewer people that know, probably for the better.
Echo kind of pauses, and he kind of like looks around. Can he clean it up?
Do you want to try to clean it up?
Yes.
No, I'm having a thought. Hypothetically, would it be possible for me to like set up the camera on my little tablet and like leave it pointed at that and see like if he comes back to clean up his own handiwork? Because like he wouldn't want other people to figure this out. He's trying to point this towards us or towards a small specific group of people. So maybe he would come back and try and get rid of the evidence.
You want to try to leave your tablet and see if you can.
I mean, might as well. Might as well.
All right. Yeah, you find a little place where you can like set up your tablet and point it at the wall.
Alex, I'm not trying to belittle your creativity, because, you know, I like being creative. I'm a creative guy. What if it gets like stolen or?
I'm sure that they can track these things. If it gets stolen, we'll be able to track it down.
You know, if we really wanted to, we could just like, you know, sit in like another dimension and watch.
I like your idea better.
Hey, let's do that. Echo kind of chuckles, and he takes his goggles off as he opens a portal to the Sand Realm, which he then kind of scoots into, and he kind of waits for Alex to follow. Oh boy, I can't wait to go back to my home and get something from there.
As you're standing in the Sand Realm and Alex is preparing to step through with you, Echo, you feel a flick at the back of your head, and when you look behind you, there's nothing there.
Oh no!
Echo kind of jerks forward a bit as he pauses. He spins around. Yeah, no, I think he knows. worth a shot. He steps out of the portal and closes it with a sigh.
Hmm.
I think he's listening to us right now. There's really no point.
Yeah. Well, any other bright ideas?
Not a one. But I'm sure he'll show up again sooner or later. He says, kind of looking around.
Yeah. I'm sure he will.
Necker kind of gestures and starts walking down the path.
Alex follows.
Sure be a shame if I caught him now, and he turned around real quick. Like after like 5 steps.
And, Echo, is you guys are kind of leaving the area. First of all, Alex, do you bring your tablet with you, or do you still want to try to set it up?
I'm gonna go ahead and bring it with me. He
Okay.
he surely knows that we're here. But I have a question on how if I can use my powers. Is there any way I can use my powers to like sense like the gravitational forces around me and maybe try to identify if there's anyone like hiding somewhere? Would that be within my capacity?
Yeah. Roll to unleash your powers as you extend your senses.
Okay. Please. No.
Now, yeah, you're trying to feel the area, but you don't feel any oddities or any weirdness sticking out to you.
Okay. Well, want to go back to the dorm and hang out, or I don't know what we can do.
Well, Echo, as you guys are walking away, and kind of moving away from this space, you know, what is Echo thinking about this? I'll call it a hint that has been given to you guys. Like, what's running through Echo's head?
Echo's just trying to rack his brain to think who seems like out of place from what he remembers, because everyone seems pretty much themselves, but maybe something happened while he was out. So he's just gonna have to be more alert in the near future. But he is unsettled.
Well, if there is anyone that ends up sticking out to you, you want to think back on interactions with them. You have an option to do that.
Can he use Memento to just think of anyone who does stand out?
You'll want to specify somebody. Or rather, actually, hold on. Let me look at your move again.
I just saw it open.
Yeah, I have to open it to look at it. Yeah, you're wanting to kind of think back in general and see if you feel like anybody's been kind of off.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and you can roll for Memento Vivere.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, as you're thinking back to all of your interactions with people in the school, because, you know, as you're looking at this, your mind kind of races and you're like, you know, is this a recent change? How long has this been true? Is somebody just like not who they've been saying they are ever since we first came here? How deep does this go? And your mind's kind of racking and reeling, and you're thinking to yourself, and, you know, you're here with all of these other students and the faculty, and you, unlike most of the other students here, you're not so particularly attached to the adults and the faculty here. It's a little harder for you to immediately trust them like other people or be influenced by them. So something about, you know, everything about this and just your general distrust kind of starts leading you in the direction of, I mean, it's got to be one of the adults, right? I mean, if it was one of the adults that this was talking about, I mean, that would be awful, and that would be really important. So that's got to be what this is about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Echo kind of stores that in kind of as his own head, just keeping that in mind, thinking, hold up. Well,
Yeah.
no, he wasn't acting out of character. Well, was he? No. One sec, I'm gonna look at the list.
Alex, you see Echo racking his brain and thinking.
Absolutely losing his mind. There's just one thing that doesn't make sense that kind of caught me off guard when you did it. It was when where is he? Yeah, it was when Catalyst was like kind of stopped himself when he said I'm protecting and then he stopped himself dead for some reason.
Oh yeah, there was some weird vibes in that interaction. Just staying out of character because Echo probably hasn't mentioned that to Alex yet.
Yeah. That's really the only thing I can think of for people being out of character. I'm gonna tuck that away for now. But Echo's just kind of racking his brains.
Hmm.
Can Echo? I'm just looking over the list. Yeah, can Echo? Can I use it to go back to that moment and think if something was weird?
Sure. You can roll Memento Vivir again, this time focusing on Catalyst in that moment. A full hit. Yeah, you're thinking back, and you know, your head was pretty hazy when you first woke up. And you remember talking to Catalyst, and that interaction kind of rubbed you the wrong way on thinking back to it, now that your head's clearer. But when you think back with more clarity, understanding people is very important where you come from. To understand their intentions, to know if they might double-cross you. And when you think back on Catalyst, you have a feeling that how he was going to end his sentence was basically along the lines of, I'm not going to let any of my students die. And you get this feeling that he was very genuinely concerned for you.
Mm.
And yeah, as you come back on thinking from that, this does put a bit of a warmer light on your interactions with Catalyst up until now.
Yeah, no kidding. Echo kind of like seems content with that as he nods his head and he looks to Alex. Do you know anyone who in the faculty might be acting off or weird or strange at all?
Not that I've noticed. I mean, maybe we just need to go on forward and act as normal and just keep this warning in the back of our minds and see if anything seems suspicious.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. We should do that.
Mm-hmm. Surely between us and everyone else in our little Dey'ja Busters group, someone's got to notice something.
Yeah.
If there even is anything to notice, if this isn't all just a mind game.
And it's symbolic, maybe. I don't know. And he kind of gives her a small chuckle. But that just doesn't seem like his style.
Yeah. Wishful thinking, maybe.
Hopefully. But I got a feeling it's not as simple as we think.
Nothing can ever be simple around here, can it?
No. If it was, though, it'd be kind of boring.
Yeah, but sometimes I might take boring.
You wanna know something funny? I originally came to this school because I was looking for some adventure, something different.
Well, I'd say you definitely got it.
Yep. No, I'd say so too. Yeah. Chuckles. What time is it, Ethan?
It's late in the evening now. It's getting close to about maybe 9-10 o'clock.
9, 10. Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe
gotta
closer
look
to
it
8.
up.
Maybe closer to 8-9 o'clock.
I should probably go do my check-in and then turn in. Is there anything you wanted to talk about, Alex?
No, not right now. I think we've kind of both got a lot off our chests tonight. But if anything comes up, I'm just a text message away.
Thank you. If something, how do I say this? He says, looking up at the sky. If I ever meet Lasher again, I don't know how I will react. Can you please try to help me when that time comes, however that might look like?
Of course.
Thanks, that means a lot. He gives her a small smile.
Yeah, what are friends for?
What are friends for? He kind of raises a hand for like a little fist bump.
She gives them back.
We should get some rest. I'll see you later.
Yeah, see you later. Get some good rest.
You too. And he kind of starts heading out.
Yeah, with that, you guys split off, and your brief encounter with the brain teaser having drawn to a close, you both return to your rooms to rest, think on what you found, and also just think on what's happened recently. Tomorrow's a new day, and soon you and the rest of your friends will be reunited. And we'll move back over to the whiteboard because that is all we've got for now, and it's time for our end of session moves.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so for our end of session moves, since we just got the two of you, we'll start with Will for Echo. Yeah, this session, how's Echo feeling? Has he grown closer to anyone, grown into his image of himself, or grown away from anyone?
I'd say he's grown closer to Alex.
Okay.
She kind of came in clutch there when he needed her the most. So yeah, I'd say he's grown closer to Alex, which she already has influence over him. So you know what that means? You get to shift my labels.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Do you want to hear? I will send you my labels. They're in general in this chat.
Yeah, that'll be helpful for me to decide what we should do.
What is Alex looking for from Echo after all these conversations you guys have had?
I kind of want to move Superior up and Freak down.
Okay, what's your reasoning behind that?
Or I guess I mean Mundane up and Freak down. Because they were both able to kind of get closer to each other and support each other for the mundane, and bring the freak down for him because well, she's getting to know him better and understanding his motivations and why he does what he does and how he feels about these difficult situations they're put into.
Maybe trying to help him feel normal, not so much like an outsider. Echoing Great Oak's shifting of your labels earlier in the session.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to convey.
All right, that makes sense. So you can go ahead and shift your labels, Echo. And
Okay, so sorry, it was freak down, superior up?
Mundane up.
Mundane, okay.
And additionally, you can either clear a condition or mark potential.
I will clear insecure, because Echo definitely is not feeling insecure right now.
Alright, yeah, you've got people around you. You've got Alex nearby to help support you. And, Alex, how's Alex feeling at the end of the session here?
I think she definitely is feeling closer to Echo as well.
Okay, and I assume Echo also already has influence over
Yes.
Alex. So,
He does.
Yeah, you can also shift Alex's labels.
What are
Okay,
your
I'll go
labels
ahead and-
looking like?
Let me go ahead and get those.
Oh, okay. Let me look.
What's Echo looking for from Alex?
He's wanting her to be more like confident in herself, kind of like what she's doing for him. So he wants to shift.
Oh, I hear some buzzing from your mic a little bit.
No, that was my phone.
No, like
Vibrating,
like static in your mic is what I mean.
Really?
More
Oh, God, sorry.
Yeah, it's gone away. Oh. Yeah, what are you looking for?
Is it better? Let's do. Oh God, that can go anyway. You're more confident in herself, seeing superior. So superior, it would be superior up, and savior down.
And what's the another buzz? What's the reasoning behind superior up and savior down specifically?
Just be more confident in herself, and not worrying like so much on taking blows for everybody in a way, like not like so like stop worrying about everyone else, but more like being more confident in herself to support people. It's kind of a little bit of a paradox thing going on.
Would you say you're wanting her to be more superior, or just trusting in her ability to support others? Because supporting others would be mundane rather than superior.
No, you're correct. Yeah, mundane probably would be better.
Okay, so mundane up, savior down. I think that makes sense given what happened today. So yeah, go ahead, shift mundane up, savior down, and then additionally, Alex, you can clear a condition or mark potential.
I'm going to clear hopeless, because with her kind of getting support and supporting Echo, she's not feeling as hopeless.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, as these two grow closer together, and, you know, both of you are helping each other feel a lot more normal, a lot more grounded, and a lot more resolute moving forward. Your bond grows ever tighter, and yeah, when we return next time, the gang will be back together again, and we'll try to untangle this web of questions without answers that you guys find yourselves in next time in Star Heights Academy.
Dun dun
I'm
Da!
gonna go out dramatically and oh, we're scared.